We now have an interesting fireside chat on the topic optimizing programmatic advertising performance in the mobile app ecosystem. Well, in today's time, consumers are spending more time on their mobile devices than ever before. Hence, measuring and optimizing programmatic advertising performance is crucial for advertisers and app developers. Well, the speakers for our fireside chat are going to dive into the changing mobile media buying habits, discuss various key performance indicators that can be used to measure the effectiveness of programmatic advertising campaign in mobile apps, the importance of data analytics and the strategies for improving and optimizing ad targeting, ad creative and ad placement. Please welcome our speakers for this session. Please put your hands together for Kapil Bonde, Market Evangelist Adjust. Let's welcome him. And also welcome Rashi Bhushan, Senior Partner, Client Lead, Media Division, Planning Lead, Digital Media and Strategy, DDB Mudra Group. We also have Yogin Vora, Associate Director, Digital Marketing, ZEE5 Global. Welcome. So let's give a big hand to all our speakers and over to Mr. Kapil Bonde.
Hello. Hi guys. So thank you everyone for making out time for this session. And like the earlier session was quite touching on the fundamentals, the problem of some of the challenges and how the programmatic landscape have evolved from a brand perspective, because we had some of the best brand advertisers on the panel who are cracking programmatic. But from this panel, what you can expect is to unlock the wisdom from an app marketer standpoint. Because right now we have Yogin on board, who is one of the biggest and the most advanced marketers when it comes to entertainment landscape. And we have Rashi, who has worked on both the sides. That is, she has a view from a brand perspective as well as the platform perspective on how the programmatic landscape is evolving, what are the trends and all. So hopefully, we, given the experience of a panelist, I would like to, I would hope I am able to unlock wisdom which will help you make your 30 minutes really worth it. So without further ado, I'll just like to give the handover to Yogin and Rashi to just make the quick introductions.
Thanks, Kapil. Thanks a lot. I've been into marketing for last 5-6 years. Before that, I was in offline and online. Right now, currently working with ZEE5 as a head of digital for global markets. Except India, everything we look after. Looking at the programmatic summit when this topic popped up, and we were like, wow, this is exciting. And for us in the global markets, programmatic is more evolved as compared to Indian market as such. And we do a lot of other things on programmatic, which probably Kapil now will try to unlock with us. Yep. That's great. Thank you.
Great. My name is Rashi, and you know, seeing across being in the industry for more than 10 to 11 years, you know, starting off from a marketer as a wholesale media planner and then moving on to digital cautiously and very consciously as well. So here at DDB Mudra Max, where I lead across the planning and buying for clients across for a marquee set of clients, which is for BFSI to, you know, a shoe brand, to a luxury brand, to a kitchen appliances brand, right? So you name it, and even for, you know, the first of the round of the panelists that were discussing across, we've also got an alcohol brand, which is into a BLE extension, which we call it. So, you know, we've got more than, you know, you name the category, you name the industry, and we are right there, right? So from setting across the expectations to getting across the objectives, to seeing what you are chasing from a programmatic perspective is very, very important, you know, to set right with the, you know, with your partners, with the brands, with, you know, even the vendors or the publishers across. So, yeah. So over to you, Kapil.
And also just to quickly introduce myself, I am Kapil, and I work with Adjust. Adjust is an attribution platform which helps marketers to understand and solve for attribution, fraud, and other use cases. And just to talk about myself, I work as a market evangelist where I lead the strategic initiatives and the GTM strategy for the India and Southeast Asia market. So basically, I help marketers to unlock the full potential of a MMP, and so that they ensure that they keep running profitable campaigns wherever they are. So that's a short description for myself, and now I'd like to jump on the key questions. So like we have seen the consumer behavior evolving from a content perspective. That is, earlier we were consuming static content during the time of 2G, then we moved to a full scale video, then now we have moved to short form video and podcasting, and different forms of content are actually evolving as day by day we go forward. So what are like some of the trends in consumer behavior which you are observing, Yogin, from, because like Yogin is sitting, especially on the entertainment side, he is continuously has to face challenges on how the content behavior is evolving so that they can actually package their content in that way which suits the audience taste. So what are the trends in user behavior which you see in the landscape?
So rightly said that the way the internet era has been moving from 2G to the 5G now, and things are evolving more faster, our internet pace is picking up. The same way our choice of devices is changing very drastically, from small devices to smartphones to now TV and laptops, tablets, everything. So for us, when we look at a content consumption behavior, it is about multiple device a user is actually trying to get through, and he just likes to see content. Like what I see as the perspective of Indian market is more of mobile penetration, but when I see in US and other markets, in that markets you see more of web penetration. People like to see on a CTV more in that way. So for a marketer to just make it sure your marketing strategies are right, because consumers are watching content, whether it's on our platform or any other platform, they're watching via CTV. They are watching via larger screens. That is what they like about. And 4K content is something which everyone loves to see with a good quality of a content. So overall consumption of the trend, if you go to see, there is as such no trend as such, but the way you look at consuming behavior of audiences, they just love content which there are multiple genres in that. There are multiple way a content has been perceived by a consumer. So it's a way of saying that how I can pass my time with the best of the content, who can provide me the best of those, right? So how you as a marketer in this particular category are able to drive that content discovery. So as a couple, you might love some other genres. Which other genres you actually like to watch on OTT?
Thrillers, suspense.
Right?
Yep.
So if at all, if I don't cater you anything, I don't bring a content that way, would you ever come to our platform?
No, absolutely.
So
I have so many
exactly.
choices.
So for the consumer behavior, first we have to individually understand how a consumer is and what kind of a content. So you have to have multiple variety of contents with you as your library, and then how to now identify how Kapil will be there and what kind of a devices he's going to do. So the behavior comes from the consumer for us mostly, and the way we have seen right now, the best effective way of Indian and other markets are driving is more CTV centric or larger screens. Yeah.
Nice. So do you also see CTV like becoming a big part of consumption in India going forward?
For India, yes, right now, but if you go to see in US, Europe market and other market, it's already big. Okay. So for me, handling global markets, we are almost like my 40% to 50% spends are on CTV.
Wow,
and I work with Siddharth Dabade itself for CTV penetration.
That's nice. That's a huge number, and hopefully, I like most of the trends which play out in US. Over the years, they definitely tend to play out in India as well. So hopefully, I think over next 5 years, as and when the penetration of household internet goes up, I think we'll definitely see the rise of CTV.
The international, all the trends are really picked up by India really fast. But what we have seen in India, the trends have been picked up, but improvised in an Indian way. Yeah. Like I am aware of Samsung TV in that way. They are actually giving data bifurcations more as compared to UK that way. Oh. So India has the way, has the shine, has the charm, the way they want to do it. So that's what I like about India.
Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice. In fact, now I would like to ask Rashi, because Rashi sits at a point where she is speaking to the brand advertisers as well, who want to go for, who are looking for audiences for their apps or their respective services. But along with that, she is also being pitched by a lot of platforms about their inventory. So basically, she would be having a perspective from both the sides. So Rashi, what are your observations when it comes to the user behavior and how it is translating on a buyer side?
Yeah. So, see, Kapil, and I completely agree across with Yogin. See, content consumption in India is actually like a roller coaster ride, okay? It's enthralling, it's unpredictable, and it leaves you wanting for more, right? This is one of the very set quotes that you would have seen across, right? We stand at a population right now where we are saying of 1.5 billion, right? And smartphone, kind of users will be touching across 1 billion by 2026, right? We are not that far. And what do you do with so much of penetration, accessibility, lower costs, plans that are there where everybody buys across a phone? You consume content excessively, right? That is where the base, the build-up and the case comes along, right? Now, the kind of trends that we are seeing across, where we are in a pre- and post-COVID hiatus, right? It is in terms of what, obviously with the video at play, right? The content consumption went up. That was number one, be it across with the ZEE of the world or with your Netflixes of the world. What it couldn't do in 9 years, it is done across in that 1 or that 6 months of that first wave that came across, right? Telemedicine is one, right? Health and wellness, right? And also seeing across for customized vernacular content. So like the way, Yogin said that if Kapil or Rashi is not there, and he likes thrillers, I like more of a comedy. And if I do not have that sequential or the dynamic creative optimization or the vernacular versus my customized content to cater to, the user will not be seeing it across. Right. That is, I think, Kapil, the shift or the kind of trends we are seeing across that are there. Because I speak across to publishers, we have across a set of clients that are there, and it is a very, very customized and a very, very, single-layered kind of an approach where we take, because the role of the platform is very important to play, right? Yeah. It is no more than just a 5-line item media plan. Right? Gone are those days. We have a multi-platform, we have a multi-screen, we have a multi-touch approach that we're looking at now.
Okay. Yeah, because obviously because your customers are scattered everywhere, and definitely programmatic gives you access to different forms of inventory, not just one form, and I definitely agree to that. Now coming to, I meet a lot of app marketers, and one thing which they always ask me is, what is can you suggest me different sources of inventory where I can look for apart from the walled gardens? Because everyone to some extent, given some of the glitches which were there in between with Facebook or the recent changes with iOS which have happened, they want to diversify the media sources outside the walled gardens as well as a hedged bet. So, just wanted to ask Yogin, because you have cracked programmatic to a fantastic scale. So, what were your motivations to go for programmatic in the first place? That is one thing. Second is, when you ventured into programmatic, what were some of the mistakes you did, and what are some from your experience? What are some of the suggestions you would suggest that if someone wants to start programmatic for their app campaigns, then what should be those consideration points when working with the programmatic platform?
So, being a marketer, first thing, you have to convince your management that there is no mistake, or else you lose your job.
Yep.
It's always an experiment what you do, right? It's always an experiment. And if it fails, it's never a failure. Yep. It is an improvisation. Yep. So I just thought probably mistake is a very big word to use in any marketer's life. Yep. Or else the agency will go and say like, boss, the guy is doing something wrong,
Yeah.
So, so for that particular purposes, I think no one has cracked programmatic as such. programmatic is still evolving, and every day you see something new. Like just saw before panel, someone was talking about digital out of home getting evolved here. CTV coming into the picture. There are new things which are coming and adding up into the picture. So things are evolving day and night. So when I say cracking something is, you are never 100% there. You are like 40% there, 50% there. You always learn, evolve. Like for us, we do digital out of home and we do zip code targeting because our targeting is more of NRIs and other audiences, Bangladeshis. So we need to find the micro level and hyper local targeting also is available on programmatic. When you see the way CTV, so first thing programmatic, I realized around 1 year, 2 months back, 3 months back, that one DSP will not be enough for us.
Yep.
So we strategize ourselves in saying that we would have to have a multi-DSP approach. So for that particular reason, we started to research about DSP. For few display, we would have DV360. For YouTube CTV, we have that. Especially for external audiences, another thing, we have MIQ as a CTV. For digital out of home, we are trying to work with Google Plus, another partner DSP. So multi-DSP approaches help you because the CTV and other, you will not be able to merge with the audiences with your display and other video assets. Programmatic starts and ends with a buzzword saying that something is new.
Right.
So whenever you do something, when you do operationally, it is just a line item. You just put a line item, you do every optimization. Right. But how you communicate in the programmatic is more important. And coming from an OTT background, we have to be not a marketer, we have to be a storyteller for us.
Right.
So if you're not storyteller at all, so you will never be able to optimize your programmatic. So cracking something is very difficult because every week there is a new story, there is a new release, something new comes up, 4 other content comes up, the story changes. Right. So how would you optimize your multiple semi-channels in programmatic, which helps you to give that story and narrate to the users so that they come and watch on your platform. So for us too, the way we do programmatic is we don't only start with say basic programmatic performance or anything like. If it's a bigger content, we go across all our channels. We do 360-degree marketing on that programmatic channel. So there is not one channel on programmatic we have not explored till now. Any new product comes in, as a marketer, we want to experiment that. We want to understand if it's going to yield a better user engagement for us, or is it going to be a better conversion metrics for us. Yeah. But looking programmatic at direct performance is a very not right approach for any marketer to start with, because first you start nurturing your audiences, dynamically creative, how you optimize to multiple audiences. As right now Rashi said, she loves comedy, you like this. Right. So if I show you comedy, you will not like it, right? So dynamically to understand a consumer, then give them a creative perspective, and then taking the entire library of content and going back to the consumer in the way which is the best performing for us. So it's too much to and fro of data for us in that way. So programmatic is new for a person, whether you start 5 years back, you start 10 years back, you start 20 years back, every day something new comes up. Yeah. So I think
that is also, I think that is something which makes it exciting, right? Because every day you come to the job and you are not doing the same thing over and over again. Every day there is something new to learn and experiment.
That is exactly what programmatic is for us.
Yeah, that's really nice. In fact, so just to summarize, what Yogin mentioned is that even within programmatic, what you need to do is diversify within programmatic, and among that, leverage the data which you get from programmatic platforms to contextualize your creatives so that they increase the relevancy for the end user, and that's how you drive the impact. So that's the main key takeaway. Now coming to Rashi, so from a you work with so many different forms of advertisers. Now, what are some of the ad formats within the programmatic landscape which you have seen which work for these advertisers, and what are some of the best practices from an overall ecosystem which you can suggest working with programmatic platforms?
So see, Kapil, as you know, Yogin rightly said, it's ever evolving, it's new. The embracement and the accessibility as well as the acceptability is low right now. And I can vouch for that. being in this ecosystem and being the, kind of mediator to both the ends, right? Now, when you've got across, the kind of key benefits and the kind of, different kind of mobile advertising options that we have, it is, obviously, the stuff leads across to real-time bidding. It allows advertisers to bid across in real time, right? To make more informed decisions. And all of us are quite well aware, right? We heard it across from the first panelists that were also there. Seeing across, it leads across to real, kind of real-time efficiencies, automation that is there. The buying process is really simplified. Obviously, seeing through, there are transparency and challenges that we do face across. Like with a recent conversation I was having with one of my clients, saying that, we will do direct YouTube, right? Yeah. We proposed it across because we did not think the client is evolved enough to understand the nuances of programmatic, right? And it was so surprising that it came from the client side that I will do across OTT, I will do YouTube through DV. Or any other platform for that matter, but I will take it up programmatically because the audience is there rightly residing, right? I don't want to just do a plain demo, geo, and whatever kind of cohorts that are available. So this is the kind of shift and the kind of, nuances that I'm seeing across where people are, the advertisers, brands are embracing it, but we still have a long way to go.
Okay, yeah, that's nice. Also, like one thing we are talking about programmatic, but like just from a broader perspective, if we are to give a clear understanding of how programmatic channels are different from, let's say, the walled gardens buying, because everyone is used to buying on the walled gardens, it's pretty simple, but how is that different from the programmatic landscape? That is one thing. And secondly, like from a marketer standpoint, this is a question to both of you, that how do you avoid, because a user might be present across the walled gardens as well as the programmatic channels. So how do you avoid targeting the same user repeatedly across both the channels so that there is no, so that creative fatigue is not in? So I think you can start with the first part, that like how is it different from the walled gardens, and maybe then both of you can answer the second part.
I think I'll tell Rashi, being an agency, aap hi kar lo ye. We are clients.
Oh yes, Yogin.
These are the queries, please solve it.
Yes,
how it works.
That's the day in and day out brief that we get. So see, Kapil, when we were there way back in 2010 and 11, and all your Tata Skies and Dish TVs of the world used to advertise and take across a product launch, what was it? And I'll explain it across in a very, systematic format. You have a product launch, you have a communication line change, you have a brand change. We'll take across the hygiene platforms of the world, your YouTube as your reach builder, seeing across for Facebook as your frequency and your affinity builder. Then we'll go on to OTT, and then we might have search, because people as a brand for primarily, say, like a DTH brand will search across for me for my set-top boxes that are there. And, one innovation that we will have, and that big innovation was the big creative idea that we used to play across, and that was, how my media plan looked like. Right? And then you used to have the very primary teaser phase and the launch phase and the sustenance. While it is still in play, right? Those were the times, and then when we saw across, the launch campaigns or the big ticket item campaigns, we're seeing across, with, Tata Sampans and your Tata Salts of the world that are taking across on a day, like your World Iodine Day, right? And showcasing across an impact property, and, aligning across for changing the logo, or, Times of India logo, and then seeing through. So those were the times when all of this used to be at play with a, 10, 11 line item plan. Now when we are putting it across, and when, Yogin comes across to me and says, I want to do programmatic, that is a simple ask. Mujhe ye chahiye, I want to do programmatic. Now tell me, how can I do it? That is number one. He's obviously looking across for cost efficiencies and cost benefit, kind of analysis. What will I get out of it, right? Now, if I have a video in place, obviously I'll take it across on my, CPM buys and see across my cohorts level that are relevant to my brand, right? That's the sanest way in a Excel plan that goes, right? But there is just more to that. He or any other brand advertiser will look at it from a full funnel approach, right? Even from a video, he will expect a download of the app. But that is, forgive me, Yogin, that is not the right way to go. But the awareness part or the term or the recall that we would have from a programmatic with a cost efficiency analysis at play will be much higher when I do across a traditional media kind of a buying.
How about an assisted conversion?
Wow.
How about a view-through conversion?
Wow, awesome.
There are few advertisers who will not always ask a direct conversion.
Yes.
They will always want
Yes.
the person you are approached.
Yes.
At least they reached a final mile, not 100%, 2%, 1%.
Yep.
That's the least ask for a word advertiser in some other way.
Right.
Because while you do a wide reach out to a video, you will always want that you're reaching to the right consumer somewhere.
Right.
So that's where, if at all the user who have reached out to, if he doesn't convert in 30 days, 60 days, we will
Right.
not feel bad. At least we were able to communicate that.
Right,
If
right.
your audience is right.
Yep.
So I think as an advertiser also, there are few ones who will always tell, okay, did we get something assisted?
Yep.
So that's the reason third-party tracking is important
Yeah, yeah,
somewhere, so across all.
In fact, Yogin just gave me a perception that he belongs to that set of advertisers who ask some really difficult questions, because exactly like you mentioned, because since last 10 years, I have seen app marketers focus only on last click attribution, and because of which they miss out on the big pictures. That is, out of, let's say, if you have like 10 channels in your mix, there would be certain channels which would be driving that upper funnel impact or the branding impact, though they might not be actually driving the installs, but they would be playing an assisting role. So understanding, like for example, just to give you a simplified example, is you watch an ad on a CTV. Now, since a lot of times it doesn't have a CTA button, what happens is you would do a Google search and then install an app. Now, if you go by last touch attribution, what happens is your Google search marketing campaigns get the attribution, and you would think that is something which is working for you. But if you stop spending on CTV, eventually even that is going to scale down, because that is the attribution trap, because it was the CTV which was driving the discovery in the first place. So that's a very important point, I think, which Yogin brought out. And definitely you need to have that holistic perspective where you are looking at the assistive impact as well as the conversions as well. So that's definitely there. And
Google is always going to be a last mile
Yep.
approach. It will never change all of a sudden saying that I'm going to do search is not going to be the last mile, you're going to be first mile. So full funnel marketing is something which I've been driving with previous panelist. I worked with him, Prasad. So there also when COVID came in, what he was giving an example, a lot of advertisers backed out, we will not market, and we were the, we were the like life insurance guy. Okay, let's do it. Let's do 2 products, because now there is no clutter.
Yep.
Clutter-free space, inventories were almost available because occupancy was not there.
Right.
So we were like all out, gagas. We got CPM as the lowest at the lowest rate. So programmatic, overall what I've realized from the top funnel to the middle and the bottom, middle funnel is a bit hunky-dory types usually, because I usually see middle funnel will have some audience nurturing and other things which will not go to the next mile. But the top and the bottom funnel is something which you have to focus in a different way, because programmatic has outcome-based buying and other things for the bottom funnel. From the upper funnel, they have other products like recently we on ZEE we launched global first Google CTV ka mastered. So for us, why to do it? Any which was no.
Right.
The product that was a Masi that time. So we thought probably the Kashmir file we had in English and all.
Yep.
So we just did it there. After that, we gave a feedback to Google saying that, okay, can we do more targeting? They went country-wise and otherwise.
Right.
So we also learned with programmatic the way mastered can be bought easily. And trust me, I'm telling you, mastered was more cheaper than anything else that day.
Wow.
The most
That's
cheapest one,
insight.
and we couldn't, if we were not able to explore that, we wouldn't have known that. And currently, whatever the big launches we get it, we are using mastered massively across all the regions in US and others.
That's really interesting, because I thought that is a very expensive format, but looking at the mass level, if it is actually playing out at a lower CAC compared to the other channels, it's really a great insight.
Just a tip, less than $1.
Wow.
CPM.
Wow, that's really nice. Also, just quickly, from a CAC perspective, do you see the CACs are lower on programmatic channels versus the walled gardens?
So the best part about full funnel marketing and what you do across all your spends, you should never look at one platform giving you what cost and other things. You should always optimize at the average cost. That is what my belief since last 5 years being a marketer. If you start optimizing Google search and CAC and you say programmatic is going to yield you the same CAC, half the marketer will have to look for a different job. Because you will only have a Google dashboard guy or a Facebook guy who will be working day in and day out. Right. You will not have a marketer who will know what the vision of communication is, what level communication should go, why the user should be actually conveyed. Because last mile and first mile has a lot of difference around that. Right. So communication is a key for a marketer, so that when he reaches out to the user, he reaches out the huge bucket. Then he goes to the comedy, then he goes to anything horror. He gives him a journey. When you do third party tracking, you know which kind of channels he interacted with. Right. I've seen channels in my previous job wherein 20 channels of were activated and user actually clicked everything or saw everything, view through entire all the channels. So entire flow chart you could see. The maximum conversion will always be Google. So direct websites are something like this. So when you do branding, direct website impact is higher, your organic is higher. So that kind of an understanding a marketer has to have within himself, then try to convince management. For us, everything is there, right? March, April.
Right.
So that's how it
Right,
happens.
right. Absolutely, absolutely. And also on this point, from a third-party tracking system, like today, like earlier, there was a famous quote from a US merchant, wherein like half of my budget is getting wasted, but I don't know which half. Today, we have the measurement evolved where you can actually nail out which is the other half which is getting wasted. So basically, even the measurement technologies has evolved from that perspective. So I think if someone is looking to venture into programmatic, he's already set from that perspective, because all these measurement stacks can actually help you evaluate those channels from your own KPI. Like for example, earlier the traditional KPIs was driving installs and all, but today that is no longer the KPI, because a measurement company can actually help you pinpoint a channel's performance basis your KPI, like let's say account opens, or in case of Yogin, it is the number of subscriptions. So you can actually evaluate a channel basis that your own KPI. So it's like from measurement standpoint, it is already evolved, so that I think like app marketers, if they are venturing, they should be confident about it. So just on the last part, what are some of the key innovations or trends you see going forward, which can unlock the potential of programmatic going forward?
So, see Kapil, I think in terms of trends, the first part comes across with your video, which is there. Your programmatic CTV, as we've all spoken about, is on the rise. Then we see about audio streaming through programmatic. That is one of the key with the podcast, with the, the app streaming in industry at play. Then we also talk about the AI and the machine learning algorithms for driving across better efficiencies, reach, right? And as the way that I started off, that, the dynamic, wherever the content consumption is there, you have a dynamic creative optimization at play. And this is very important, how you're driving across the customization for each of your cohorts, because they will not be interested in a thriller versus a comedy. And how do you reach out to that, immersive experience at play, right? And the brands, the sooner the better. The advertisers, even the agencies, the sooner the better, they embrace it, they accept it, they'll be upping their game, and they'll be far ahead in the curve, while others, I think, are still catching up at that time.
Yep, absolutely. Keeping up with the trends is something which will help you too, because out there you are competing with the best brands as well as the smaller ones. So yeah, definitely keeping up with the trends will help. Any point on that, Yogin?
I think all the trends right now you're seeing in Indian market as well as international are new channels of revenue, like out of home was the traditional which came into the picture. So in Indian market it will explore more now, because people have started to work on out of home, taking airports and other inventories. Right. So aggregating that entire thing and making it show your brand proposition 360 degree across all will be the major chunk for a brand to realize. Programmatic should be one spot for all the branding activities in future, and it is still now almost there. For me to bifurcate that with India and global, I think so it's very difficult, because when it goes to, when you said about CTV not having a click, but you go in UK, there you will have a click also. In India also, I think Amazon Fire Stick also has a click option. So I think more than programmatic evolving, I think the publishers and the platform will evolve more so that programmatic gets more, because programmatic actually just takes everything, whatever comes out, right? So that is where I think programmatic will evolve, only entire other ecosystem will evolve. New trends will come from there itself.
That's really interesting, actually. So I really thank my panelists for giving us their time and the wisdom. So hope you have made the best out of it. Thanks a lot.